Hiya folks, it's Kikoskia here with some more Hearthstone, and this time, it's time for the Tavern Brawl, the Brawl of Champions Round 2. What happened to Round 1, I hear you ask? Don't worry, it was last week, but you don't need to have played it to understand what's going on here. The competition is heating up. Choose a troll champion and you'll get their deck and this week's shrine. Who's going to move up the rankings? Likely not me, because I'm not doing very well with this brawl. This brawl is basically a multiplayer version of the single-player Rastakhan's Rumble content. You select a class, you get a pre-built deck, and one of the shrines available to that class in Rastakhan's Rumble. There are 3, I believe, and last week we got some shrines that made playing Rogue really interesting. I have a daily that synergizes with Paladin, so I'm going to be playing Paladin at least once, and their shrine is exceptionally interesting. The shrines are interesting minions in their own right. They have no attack, they start on the board, and they permanently occupy one of the slots that a minion would take in the battle, so you can only have a maximum of 6 minions in play, even if the shrine is defeated, because they switch to an inactive state and spend 3 turns regenerating, as it were. Most of them have really cool effects that are constantly active while they're alive. Some of them have interesting effects that also occur when they perish. You can get a classic pack as normal for winning your first victory in the brawl. There's a special daily as well, where if you play 3 matches in the brawl, win or lose, you get a Rastakhan's Rumble pack. I've already done that one. So we're going to try and get that victory with the Paladin, the raiding champ, and plans to keep it that way. We'll see if we can do that. I haven't been able to do that so far, but I'll try. The shrine that the Paladin has synergizes with self-damage. You'll see how when I highlight it.
The call versus Hook Tusk.
We're playing against a rogue.
Fight fair. This time, promise.
You face the king of the ring.
We want some early cards here, and I don't think any of these will suit, so we'll get rid of all of them. Both of our shrines have 5 health, and we have some really good cards here. We're going to have a very aggressive turn 1.
Nice to meet ya.
Hello!
Time to beat ya.
Our shrine, whenever we take damage, deals 5 damage to our opponent. This shrine, after they cast a spell, cast it again on the same target. We are going to play the Blood Claw. Take 5 damage, deal 5 damage. We're also going to coin the Crystallizer. Take 5 damage, gain 5 armor, deal 5 damage, and hit the shrine. Provided the 1-3 remains alive, the opponent's shrine is gone next turn. We have a Zandalari Templar here that gains quite a lot of stats if we heal, and we do have some healing. We need to be careful that we don't damage ourselves too much that we end up perishing. You're going to dagger up and hit the shrine. Makes sense, you want that gone as soon as possible. Bomb Squad has some surprisingly good synergy with our shrine. We'll hit this, we'll do that, and I think we're going to just hero power. There's a temptation to play the Emerald Reaver, but I want to play that on curve. There it is inactive, turns until it revives, 2. Our opponent has a lot of cards, and we haven't really seen many of them. There are going to be a lot of spells, but while that's inactive, our opponent doesn't get 2 castings of it. You could do a lot of nice things with being able to cast a spell twice on someone. Fan of Knives. And you're probably going to hit... Yep, you're going to hit the shrine. I think Emerald Reaver for 1 point of damage, and an additional 5 for 6, and a hero power is a good idea. Our opponent is now at 13. We've had a lot of good use out of our shrine. I might play this just as a 4-mana 4/4. All depends on what our opponent does. I think our opponent has a lot of spells. Good chance our opponent will be able to get rid of our shrine this turn. Been a while since I've seen Bomb Squad. This is a wild brawl, so we're going to be seeing cards from all of the expansions. And I like when they sprinkle in things like Bomb Squad, because I love cards that have effects that are good immediately, but have a drawback, because working around that drawback is an interesting challenge all of its own. There are ways that you can make the drawback... Ooh, Tomb Pillager. Now, this could very well be because the shrine is coming back next turn. We probably want to... Do we actually want to get rid of that? If we don't get rid of it, we leave our opponent with a 5-4, but we really just want to deal a lot of damage. So, we're going to play... We can flame Burn Bristle. We're going to hit for 2, and then 3, and then 4. Putting our opponent at 9. This is back now. There's nothing we could do to stop that returning. So let's see what you can do. I can imagine some really nasty spells here. Fan of Knives would very effectively clear everything. Backstab, which happens twice. Goodbye, Wickerflame Burn Bristle. Parrot Mascot, add a copy of each card you've played. You're going to, well, you can't backstab the 1-2. You can hit that, though. You can't hit that. There we go. You're doing a good job of clearing everything. And I'll be surprised if you don't... Ooh! That's very aggressive. Because you just dealt damage to me. And I defeated you! You should have really destroyed the shrine. You need to destroy the shrine when you're against a Paladin. Victory! And I get that hack. And I also get some gold. Let's play a different class, shall we? I feel like playing the Druid. Pure Dynamite. The Druid has some very interesting shrines. And I wonder which shrine we're going to get in this one. We have a worthy opponent. Will they defeat us?
Loti versus Jacklick.
We're playing against a Warlock.
Night, Hyreek drinks. Live wild or die lost.
I know which one of these we have, and we want to get rid of these 3. We want to keep landscaping. I would have preferred to have got the 1 mana summon some saplings, because our shrine gives us +1/+1 for every minion that we summon. The opponent's shrine, whenever they discard a card, summon a random demon. If we get soul-fired, this is going to be a very bad start for us. Juicy Psych Melon might be interesting though. Draw a 7, 8, 9 and 10 cost minion from your deck. I imagine we have them. They also have the quest, Lakari Sacrifice. Interesting. We could play that, but I don't think I'm going to. It leaves me with a pretty weak... Then again, I could play that and destroy my opponent's shrine. It's a risk, but you know what? We need to play aggressively here. It also means this thing can't be soul-fired anymore. Will my opponent burn a discard card just to get a demon? Note that it is a random demon, and with this being wild, my opponent could easily get Mal'Ganis. Darkshire Librarian. Random demon. That one might not be so good for you. That one might be really bad. We have Undasta. A little too high in mana cost for me to really play right now. So I'm going to Hero Power. I'm going to destroy this here. And then I think... I'm going to hit this preemptively, so that I can swipe if I need to. A few turns before that's back. Okay. Landscaping will be useful just to get minions. Ideally, I'd like to get the buff on them so they're 2/3/3s, but I don't think that's going to happen. I imagine the minion here, the unlicensed apothecary, is going to defeat my shrine. Ooh, that's a good amount of synergy there. You are taking 5 damage though, and another 5 damage for that. Okay, not so great. You're going to go face there. That's a really big board. What can I do? The answer is not a whole lot. I'm just going to play landscaping here. My opponent shouldn't play any more minions and should just start trading until the unlicensed apothecary can perish. Or my opponent could just be really aggressive and rely on the fact that I cannot close the distance health-wise. Also an option. You're probably going to trade with the 3/1. No, you're trading there. That's quite sensible. Fortunately, I can now clear your board. And I will be doing so. You have only 1 turn until that revives. That's going to be good. We'll just do this. Everything's dead. You draw 2 cards. It's now your turn. Fortunately, I get mine pretty soon as well. So I get to get that landscaping buff. Now you have only discarded 2 out of 6. Undasta on turn 6 is going to be really powerful. Really powerful. Summon a beast from your hand, we need another beast. And even if it dies, we can Witching Hour to get Undasta back. Uh-oh, Malchazar's Imp. That is 1 card discarded. That is a 1/6 taunt with lifesteal. That's not great, but we do have ours back. We have another swipe. I feel like playing... There's a temptation to play the juicy Psych Melon here, because we could get a very, very expensive beast. If we landscape here, we get 2 3/3s, and I can hero power. But 3/3s can contest the board somewhat. I'm going with... Then again, if I draw another beast, it might not be Undasta. I'm going to landscape here. Take advantage of this. And I'm going to hero power. And I might as well not hit anything. There's really nothing to be gained from hitting anything here. That shrine being active is a problem. Watch me now draw a different beast, and then Undasta won't be able to do anything. Dark Bargain. Oh, that's not good for me. That's 2 more. That's a 4/4. And a 2/4. And another card. Suffice to say, my opponent has sort of run away with this, because there is a 3/3 as well. Well, Undasta, you better do something awesome here. You're probably not going to do something awesome. We do have an Ironhide Direhorn, so let's do this. Aha! We did get Undasta at least. We'll hit this one to keep our health intact. And now we have a 7/7 as well. That is a pretty big board. Plus, Witching Hour will be really useful here. You want to get rid of these. You also want to make enough room so that when you complete your quest, that you can spawn 2 3/2 imps.
And you thought you were...
Add 3 random cards you discarded from your hand. Oh dear. That's a lot of cards. That's a lot of cards. I do not have a lot of cards, though I could play the Juicy Psych Melon. Might actually be a good idea if Undasta dies. There is not going to be any Undasta perishing. That is an interesting decision. Soulfire as well. Okay, I'm at 3 health here. What can I do with 3 health? Maybe I can do something awesome! I probably can't. Maybe I have a taunt in here. That would be nice. Charge Devil Saw. That could be useful. So we trade here, get the Charge Devil Saw, and then we trade here. And we trade here. And then we trade here. Which gives our opponent a fair amount of damage. And unfortunately, no matter what we try, we'll end up losing. Ah well. Well done. Well played. If I'd have got a taunt there, it might have done a little bit better with all that trading. But unfortunately, the trading was not enough. Let's do one more, shall we? And I think I will select... Malakras. He brings the fire. And I wonder if he brings the frost fire as well. For one of the shrines that Malakras has revolves around freezing your opponent. I think we've got that one. We're playing against a warrior with the dragon reducing one.
Are you ready to burn?
Now we want these two here. Definitely want Mana Worm, because if there's one thing I know about that deck that I'm playing against, it is a slow one. Oh my, double Mana Worm.
Welcome
Double Mana
to the
Worm
big show.
would have been possible when Mana Worm was 1 mana. Sadly, not 1 mana anymore. Our opponent's is 8 mana, and after you summon a dragon, reduce the costs of dragons in your hand by 1. Our opponent's going to have a lot of dragons. Ours is a shrine that whenever we freeze a character, we put a Frostfire into our hand. Frostfire is a 0 mana spell that deals 1 damage. You can get a lot of them. We want that Mana Worm so we can start dealing damage to our opponent's shrine. We ideally want to use the Frostfire spell to trade effectively. Who knows, our opponent may have... Nope, our opponent may have had a Fairy Dragon. No such thing. Ooh, Frost Nova. That's going to be really good later. Do I play a Mana Worm now, or do I Frostbolt? I feel like this might be better. That might be better. Playing another Mana Worm. Let's see what you do. Fierce Monkey, eh? Fortunately, we can get through the Fierce Monkey using Frostbolt. Because that gives us our Frostfire. 1 damage. That buffs those even more. Now they deal 3. Soon, they'll be dealing 4. It's a good chance they may spiral out of control, and Vexcrow with the Frostfires is going to be very interesting indeed. Next turn, we can Hero Power and Snap Freeze. Frost Nova is going to be really good, especially if we have some spell damage boosting, because the Frostfires will also be spell damage boosted. So we have 0 mana, 2 damage spells. 2 damage to any target, by the by. That's a pretty strong board I've got. Ooh! You have 1 of everything. Well, are you going to be playing an expensive spell or a cheaper spell? What do I want to do about Kazakus? Do I want to clear Kazakus? I may want to clear Kazakus. My opponent is having difficulty selecting the second part of that spell. Been a long time since I've seen Kazakus. Do I want to clear that? I actually do want to clear that, I think. But do I want to Vexcrow? Probably not if that's the case. Probably not. But I could snap freeze it and just keep it there. I'm going to snap freeze it. There we go. Get that. Hero power this. And then I think I'm going to deal 8. Next turn, I can Azure Drake, or I can do something else, dependent upon what my opponent does. Depending upon if that is a 5 mana, it probably is a 5 mana one. In which case, there we go. 7 armor, eh? Fortunately, my shrine is still going, so we'll get some spell damage here. Ooh, Water Elemental, that's going to be really good. That's going to be really good with the freeze synergy. Now we're getting to the point where my opponent is now going to be able to play, oh dear, is now going to be able to play some pretty nice things, like the Overkill weapon that whenever the Overkill effect goes off, they can attack again, which they're going to do. Fortunately, I have something to deal with that, which is the Water Elemental. You are more than welcome to hit that with your weapon. Unfortunately, your shrine is back, which is not great, but Archmage Antonidas will synergize wonderfully with all those frost fires. I could rack up a lot of fireballs. The Curator! The Curator is going to draw what looks like all 3. A Beast, a Murloc, and a Dragon. Interesting. Interesting. Flame Waker. Interesting card to see with the Frost Fires, but I think for now we're going to play the Azure Drake. Whenever a character is frozen, gain spell damage +1. Interesting. I think we shall do that there, and see what you do. You have a lot of cards. Definitely get a lot of Frostfires with the Frost Nova. Could synergize it with the Flame Waker. Or the Glyph Guardian. Oh, the Glyph Guardian would actually be really good with Flame Waker and Frost Nova. Or just Frost Nova Glyph Guardian. Big dragons, lots of dragons. That's a dragon.
For the life binder.
So that's 4 minions. Nope, that's... You can't target that. You can target that, though. And then you're going to hit that. Fair enough. Right. You're going to save the charge of the weapon. That's quite sensible. We have the shrine back. Okay. After you cast a spell, cast a fireball at a random enemy. Well, let's see what happens here, shall we? Frostfire. 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 Fireball. Good. I feel like destroying this. Fireball. I feel like destroying this. It is, isn't it?
What a spectacle!
That's more damage to your face. And I feel like hitting this. It's gone. That's a lot of damage. Plus, we have a Frostfire to synergize with Antonidas. If you play more minions, we can Frost Nova again. There's a good chance our opponent isn't going to be able to gain armor fast enough to deal with a constant barrage of Antonidas fireballs. Woohoo! Summon 3 random minions from your hand, give them rush. One of them is the Red Crest Rocker. I would have thought that, yeah, there we go, that you do that. Unfortunately, that means no Frostfire for us. What can we do here? Do we have Fireball? We have Malygos? I think I'll just play Malygos. Then again, dealing 6 damage is tempting. But I'm going to save that for next turn. If Malygos is somehow still alive next turn, we will have a pretty powerful turn. I have to save the Frostfire. Then again, my opponent does have 3, 7, 10. He can trade. He can trade if he wants to. I get the feeling he's not going to want to, but he might have to. Ouch. Well, the advantage at least is I can gain a lot of fireballs now. And I think I will. I think Antonidas, Frostfire, Frostnova is pretty good. Yep, I think that's pretty good.
You require my assistance.
We will Frostnova.
Aha!
Everything is frozen. And then we'll hit your face.
Aha! Job done.
Now my opponent knows that I have 12 damage in hand. And probably not many ways to deal with Antonidas. I mean, he could have the legendary that kills legendaries when you have a dragon in hand. That would be interesting if my opponent did. It's a powerful board that my opponent has, but if he can't actually kill Antonidas and can't gain enough armor, that's a problem. I have 13 damage right now, without considering that this is back next turn, which gives you an extra 2 damage, which means that I have 15 damage next turn. So my opponent needs to gain at least 7 points of armor, possible if he has a shield block. Or an Ironhide. I'm not sure if my opponent has either though. That turn with the minion that spawned fireballs. Oh, there we go!
What a show of skill!
Well played. That turn where I had those fireballs was the turning point for me. A fine turn indeed, full of fireballs everywhere. You'd have thought they'd have been ice-based, but no, fireballs. And so, that was 3 matches in the Tavern Brawl. A very enjoyable Tavern Brawl. I recommend playing it just to get that Rastakhan Rumble pack. And the Classic pack. It always pays to get Classic packs. It gives you a few more cards, a little more dust. Sometimes you'll get the odd legendary that you don't have. Would you believe that I still don't have all of the Classic legendaries? There are still a few that have eluded me. One day I'll have them all. One day. And when we come back, folks, more Hearthstone. Will it be a deck that I've built, or will it be part 3 of the Brawl? Who can say? All I can say is, it's probably going to be very silly, much like some of those matches were. Typically how it ends up going for me. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.